Hello there, I want to show you how to make some bubbles just using your bare hands. Now, here's one way. You can just make a little loop in your hand like that, a little circle, and throw your hand out almost like you were making a throwing of a piece of paper away. And you can throw little bubbles out. Make sure your hands are nice and wet now, and make a little circle. This time you don't throw, but you just blow through it. And now I'm going to show you the simplest trick of all to turn a bubble inside out. Blow a bubble in your hand, keep the ring there, burst the top in the ring, and then you turn your hand over and blow the other way, and you've turned the bubble inside out. You can let it fly, catch it again in your wet hand, again make a little ring, pop the hole, let the air out, turn your hand over, and you've turned the bubble back the right way round. So there's one way to turn a bubble inside out and back the right side. There are so many things you can do with bubbles. I'm sure you've learned some maybe when you were having the bath, but here's one, making a little circle with one hand and then holding a wet hand underneath. And you'll see I'm holding it so that I can make one bubble and then another bubble joined on and another one joined on. So there's a little ring of bubbles, a little string of bubbles. And then I can give them a little wobble. They're really beautiful. I left the sunlight there, just it catches me sometimes, but it's really nice because it catches the bubbles and makes them beautiful occasionally. Now, if you have two bubbles like this and you hold them close together, an amazing thing can happen. The bubbles quite like each other and they jump and they actually become one bubble. Did you see that? I'm wiggling my fingers just to keep all the film on the bubble going round. Here we go again. Let's see if we can join these two together. Two half bubbles sitting on my hands, a little jump, and they become one again. One bubble. I pull them apart and you get one coming out like an elastic bubble. Again, we'll put them together and they bring more little bubbles flying off. This time again, we've made a little ring in my hand with my thumb against my forefinger. And now make sure my hands are nice and wet. I'm going to try and pull some bubbles off, but I think I'll leave that one till later. The great thing about bubbles is it doesn't matter if they burst. You can always make other ones. So you see I've left a lot of the bursting bubbles in here just to let you see nobody ever makes bubbles all the time perfectly. This one again is a good idea if you can get the right bubble liquid. Put your fingers together and blow through them to make a like a sieve, but that one doesn't work so well with this bubble liquid. So we go back to this one. We make another little bubble loop, and I'm going to try a trick called the invisible bubble. If you blow a bubble like that and look inside, you can see an invisible bubble in there. Can you see it? Just there, an invisible bubble. I'm catching hold of it and I'm pulling it out. There we are. Look, invisible bubble. Could you see it before? Probably not, because it was invisible. I might be able to find another one in here. Yeah, look, an invisible bubble. And now I'm patting it to make the bubbles come off. And there are lots of little bubbles in there. If you just keep patting the bubble gently, it should produce more and more bubbles. They'll come off 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and more. Here they come, all the little bubbles. So these are just some of the things you can do with hand bubbles. I'm sure you can do many others. The important thing is to keep your hands very, very wet. So bye for now. Now I'm wanting to show you a little simple recipe so that you can use this for making it at home. Use original fairy liquid, that's the big green bottle that's quite dark, and put in 5 times as much water as fairy liquid. So I've got a little bit of water in there and I'm filling it up with fairy liquid. Ask permission before you use all the washing up liquid, but 5 times as much, and then you just have to mix up with your hands. You pour it into a little container like this one I've got here is a purple container. Pour it in, and then I'm going to use my hands, get them nice and wet, and as they're getting wet I'm mixing up all the stuff. So the fairy liquid and water are getting mixed up, and I can show you just exactly the same way. The other liquid I had is a bit stronger, and the recipe you can find on www.bubblestrings.com. The first page you go to will give you the recipe for the first bubbles, but this one's very good for simple bubbles. And here's a friend of mine, one of my grandchildren, holding a big bubble in very wet hands. Well done. So try some of these and see if you can have some fun with them. Bye for now.